Hey there guys, what's happening? So I decided that I would do a longer form video. I was gonna go live stream, but I don't know how strong this Wi-Fi is, as well as the fact that, I'm not really sure how many people are texting me right now. It seems like a bunch, so I don't know if I can stop and start the video or if that's gonna disrupt that. I have no clue. So I decided I'm just gonna record a long form video for you guys because I haven't given you guys a live stream for a while. This has a live stream quality to it. Obviously it's pre-recorded. But let's get into it right away. I'm just gonna rant about what comes up for me. I'm not really gonna plan this video out too much, but yeah, let's call it the new dimension. The new dimension, that's what it's gonna be called. So this new dimension, this new paradigm that you're stepping into right now is an important one because you need relaxation and awareness, or alertness, you could call it. Relaxation and awareness together to generate that polymath energy, that Da Vinci Code, the real Da Vinci Code, right? The Vitruvian Man. Order. The opposite being chaos. We need both chaos and order. Creation, destruction. Yin and yang. And once you understand this, you understand a very important principle of life, which is you've got to move with it, you've got to change. You see, this yin yang quality, these two opposing poles, keep constantly dancing. It keeps dancing and going into these new portals, new matrices. So you see, you never really had something called demons, right? You never really had something that was there. It was just your shadow fighting your shadow. You get what I'm saying? It's two parts of your identity fragments going head to head against each other. So in this new dimension, you're going to have to understand it's just patterns, okay? There's patterns and strategies. It's just patterns. Okay, I saw a post, I think Joey posted it today about this. And it's so important to recognize that we have all these patterns, not just hereditary patterns from our family, but patterns that we've recorded in our brain like a computer, in the storage unit. Be it cartoons we've watched when we were younger, that residue still holds. And predictive programming, we're seeing a lot of the stuff it's moving our minds towards, right? And the television is telling lies to your vision. I mean, it's in plain language, right? Now, there's a couple of shows that I like. I love analyzing movies and shows and things like this, and without a television, I don't think that'd be possible. I know we watch a lot of our stuff on our laptop nowadays anyway. Me personally, I prefer a projector because it reminds me of the human experience, because we are projectors. You see what I'm saying? That went really deep, but I think I hope you guys understand that statement. Let's see here. What do I want to talk about? We want to create a new dimension. This dimension that we hold is a frequency of flow, okay? Now, once you tap into that frequency of flow, you can start to understand how it accumulates itself. It's like a snowball effect, right? So you have to plant positive energy into it, because the world has been programmed into negativity for so long that positivity now is actually a revolutionary act. Okay? Positivity is the new dimension. But when we hear the word positivity, it's off-putting. That's the thing. It's off-putting. It's like, oh, he's just positive? You know? Where's the juice in that? Where's the meat and potatoes, right? You're probably thinking that. Maybe you're not. But that's your storyline. Understand this. Positivity is actually the coolest thing, could ever imagine. Like, it's actually really cool. The fact that you're inspiring people, the fact that you're lifting other people up, the fact that everyone's faces gleam at a smile, and they don't take life so seriously. They stop caring. They stop giving a fuck, right? They stop caring. And slowly you'll notice they let go, and slowly they fall into their beingness. And the more they fall into that resonance and beingness, you start to create the avatar or the signature essence or the blueprint of you. And this flow print or blueprint guides you like a GPS throughout your life. And whenever you start going haywire, you just remind yourself that's all illusion, that's all hallucination. The reality is this flow matrix that I'm creating, okay? And that's the dimension of positivity, of higher vibes, right? Of higher vibrations. Now, higher vibration can create more higher vibration. Lower vibration can destroy higher vibration. This is the issue. You see what I'm saying? So negative energy actually has more impact. So we have to create such spaciousness with our joy that it starts to morph and wrap around and override the negative imprint of the world that has already existed. We have to become hologrammatic in the sense of we have to be the holograms that project over this dense, gloomy cloud, right, with these rays of sunlight that beams across and overrides the old patterns. This is the new dimension. This sounds abstract to say it like this, but this is the best way that I can describe it, is through the subconscious world and the language that comes out of it. The subconscious never makes sense, right? It speaks in symbols. It speaks in abstractions. So it is my job as a healer and as a counselor and as a positive psychologist and a flow coach, it's my mission to interpret the subconscious through my perspective or my mechanism, right? Which takes the objective and it makes it subjective out into a subjective objective mixture that the healee, I don't know what you'd call a person who has a healing session, a healee, like a coachee, right? Or a client, let's just call them a client. I don't like that word though. Because I'm a consciousness Sherpa helping these people up the mountain. I get called various things. I mean, people won't stop calling me master, flow master. It's just stuck, you know? And the thing is, the title is granted to you. It's never like you get to choose like, hey, I'm the flow guide. I'm the flow master. No, it's other people telling me that. It's other people reinforcing that. Why? How? I'm creating that vibe. Okay? So I'm actually, every single day, I'm creating my avatar, my image, my words. Now, after working with Hexen, who has designed my avatar, and helping me design my avatar, I'm starting to understand a different perspective to my image and how my image is portrayed, either online or offline. Okay? So the thing about this character development work is so deep, man. It goes a layer deeper. Each time you think about it, it goes a layer deeper. Okay? And if you really think about what I'm wearing today, right? The transparent glasses, the white, the bone. This was Hexen's idea, by the way, the bone. I was trying to get a skull one, but I got a skull one for the wrist because I'm going for a shamanic vibe. Not just a shamanic vibe, a futurist shaman. So a shaman that has traveled from the future into this incarnation now to help people access the flow state, which is a mystical state at the end of the day as well. They enter it, they experience it, they have the elixir of life, now they can gift it to others. That's my goal, that's my mission, right? And so I've established a storyline around the character archetype. Does this make sense? But it also determines my style. So when I'm shopping out in the store, I'm like, okay, I'm looking for royal, future, shaman. Those are my 3 words. Royal, future, shaman. RFS. I'm looking for RFS as a dynamic out into the world. So when I see royal, when I see shaman, when I see the aesthetic slowly unfolding and merging into one, or I take different pieces, like let's say this one, right? This piece is primarily more shamanic, correct? I'm showing you my process right now of creating the character, because nobody teaches you this stuff. Everyone's like, yeah, just go about life, you know, just do what you want. I want to be a charismatic, interesting human being who makes an impact, makes a lot of money, you know, does his things like in the way possible. He knows he has a heaven load of freedom, right? And it's abundant. And so why not lean into it? Why not let it guide you? Let the flow guide you, right? So I'm showing you my process right now. So this is, again, this is a shamanic item. Looks a little bit Peruvian in its design, okay? Here we have another piece which is completely different, which is the Ankh symbol, okay? She has the eye. I actually was, me and this girl went out on a date once, and she was like, oh, so you're in the Illuminati then? And I was like, no, I'm in the new Illuminati though, IMC Nation. You know what it is. So anyway, the Ankh, right? Peace, girls. The Ankh, right? So basically, bruh. Bruh. Okay, I got it. I'll just put it over like this. It's the easiest. Man, beauty is suffering, you know, as Nietzsche said. No, he didn't. I just made that up. All right, so basically, man, the Ankh, it's penis, ovaries, vagina, right? Or yoni. So, or uterus, I guess you could say. So it's a combination of three, right? You see the calls are starting to come in now. You see what I'm saying? Like different people calling me at random times. So if this would have been a live video, you guys would have been done. Game over. All right? But I'm still going. So this is another example of a royal shamanic, but futuristic, right? It's kind of a little bit retro future, I feel like, because it's still Egyptian. It's going back in time, but it's like retro future. I used to have some steampunk goggles, but I don't wear those anymore. But every time I would wear that, I would look like I was space traveling, right? So this is what I'm talking about, is really establishing your brand, establishing your tribe, and leaning into the edges of it. Because if we don't create a container, we can't know what the edges are. You see what I'm saying? If you just have a smorgasbord of experiences, it's kind of fun, but then you forget about it. Like, what are my edges? I don't know what my boundaries are. You know, when you grow up and you're like, oh, that's my limit. Yeah, you had to first find out what your limit was. You know, that's the exploration phase of growing up, growing older. Start to know where your limit is, right? Some people, they're scared. They don't know what their limit is. They don't have that experience of life. Maybe they've been raised indoors their whole life. Who knows, right? There's such a world of experience that you can experience right now if you choose to. The issue is deciding and then contributing your energy towards the consistency of it. That's the real game. It's like, how can I contribute my energy to the consistency of this craft over a long period of time so that flow state pattern becomes second nature to me, becomes ultra instinct, as you say in Dragon Ball Z. But think of this, it's an instinct, but it's ultra, beyond instinct. Meaning supernatural. Okay? So really start to understand, and this is shout out to Ivan for this model of the world, or this understanding at least of this concept, this piece, where you want to bridge the gap between your beliefs and your desires. Okay? Just bridge that gap. As you slowly start living and moving into the characteristics of the archetype that you truly prefer, you lean into that bad boy. You lean into it. You go, and you're pushing, and that resistance hurts a little bit when you push too fast, too soon. But at the right moment, that push is going to find a way into a rhythm that transcends it. You see what I'm saying? So when you're melting resistance using your mentality, melting resistance with your mentality, your governmentality. You're also your mentality, right? Governmente actually means mind control, if you guys didn't know that, in the original Latin. Because mente is mind, governmente. My bad, I'm just digesting because I just ordered some food. Whew. I feel really free today. I feel like a huge burden just, let go of a lot of different things. A lot of different changes, emerging in my life, starting to see and heal parts of myself. When I work with every new client, I also take on their energetic field. So a lot of the things they're excited about, I start getting excited about, and vice versa. And so it's like a ripple effect. It's this stream that gets formed over time, which starts to cause a cornucopia of good vibes. So positivity is a rebellious act, right? So again, people are going to start to see you being positive and being so positive that it can scare them because they can't access that, or that's too much, or tone down your frequency, bro. I don't know how many times I've heard this from people. Tone down your frequency, man. I don't know, you're just a little out there. You're just a little too cocky for me. I don't know. It's just like there's something about you I don't like. Okay, good. Okay, great. I'm glad I'm not for you, because then I'm not for you. But if I am for you, you start to understand why you're on this channel, why you're ascending, why certain people have clicked on this video, and why it's going to go further and further and further. And this is just me abracadabraing it, right? I'm speaking it into existence. I'm showing you live as it happens, because you really have to claim your reality. It can't be wishy-washy, right? A lot of people, they have these wishy-washy realities. Like, yeah, I guess I like the beach, but I like the mountains too. Which one do you like? If you had to make a choice, though, I guess they're both fine. I'm just kind of lukewarm as a person. I don't know if I can have these strong opinions or bold statements. I just don't know. Maybe I'll get hurt for that. I'm rehearsing out words what you might be going through. And that's perfectly normal. It's perfectly fine, because you want to be safe in your image, in you being seen, not as a threat. So you feel more safety. Therefore, it's deliberating in your own mind that means happiness. But that does not mean happiness, because you're going against your values. Whenever you go against your virtues, you don't end up where the happiness is. So you have to establish virtues, actual values that you like, that you surround yourself with, and that becomes your indicator of trust, right? And that becomes your indicator of like, okay, I have a moral code here, I have ethics, and this is not even something that people have to tell me in a legislation or in some kind of a document, but I just know deep within that, hey, I'm supposed to be doing this, right? Not in a conditioned way, like I'm supposed to be doing, like you're supposed to do it, you should do it. It's not like that, but it's more like the activation of the character beyond, that you know you can be, that you know you have access to, because you see glimpses of him or her at various times. You see them shine, you see them come out swinging. You see them in moments where they have these great big cameo roles in other people's movies, right? They make that one scene and it's like, pow, right? Impact, influence. That's what's happening. The ripple effect is spreading from one activity of you showing up. Full stop. That's it. You just got to show up over and over and over again. When you feel like quitting, that's resistance. If there's too much resistance, like it's breaking you, you need to back off. Something is off there. That's not a place you want to be pushing into more. That's a place to be softening. If it's like going too hard, right? Don't go too hard and then break your back. Go just hard enough that you reserve that extra energy for momentum fuel. We're thinking about the intensity of it. That's heightened, but it goes back down slightly, really slightly. From the intensity, it's like it goes down very slightly. And now it's like a focus. It's like a focused hum, if you can imagine. It's like, and And now practice this hum, this focused hum. As you hum, look at the direction of your hum. And notice that you can send it around different areas of your room. Try this. And to reach the corners of the room, you have to go maybe deeper, maybe louder. Right? And then what you can do is you can play with the pitch of the hum to notice how it resonates throughout your body. If you're speaking up here, that means you're very heady up here, right? You feel it up here in your throat in this area. Now try making it deeper. Digesting. Let's do it together. That's a good space. That's a great level. Try seeing if you can send it even lower. If you can't, that's okay. You maintain the frequency. Now try going from low to high. I'm imagining like Dolby Digital or some shit playing, you know what I mean? Like the beginning of a movie, right? Okay, so anyway, that's a great practice because you're introducing sound to your body. My bad. My glasses were kind of sweaty, so. Here we go again. Here we go again, my friends. Alrighty, class. Today we're about to teach a class on practical physics. So when you have the protons and neutrons going to the electrons, then you have the electrodes going to the more of the electrodes. I don't even know who that character is, but that's funny. That's funny, right? Like, damn. I don't even know how I go into these characters so quickly. Like, give me a character right now. Someone give me a character. A hippie that is stuck in a postmodern revolution who paints with his thumbs. He's a thumb artist. Oh man, my thumb. It is so painful. I cannot believe it. You are the masterpiece, my thumb. Oh my goodness. Okay, that was really horrible. I don't know what the heck that was, bruh. Bruh. Anyway, do you guys want to know more questions around flow state and things like this? Because I feel like that could be a place where I can add lots of value in terms of, you know, where I'm going to show up. Wow, my face is really itchy. Oh, I I'm lagarin don yunjim wagaleveren ban gumbala hibilai gubere bambelis. That was some light language for you guys. I don't know what that was. I think it was light language. I think that's how it's supposed to happen. But cool, if you got something from that, cool. If you didn't, that's totally fine. So basically I want to talk to you guys about this different flow model of the flow dimension, right? So when you're going to be positive, people are going to be challenging your positivity, okay? Like people are going to be like, whoa, like that guy, you know, he's too much, he's too weird, he's too authentic, right? So when you balance out your authenticity with relevance, but more than relevance, it's more of a compassion, right? It's like a understanding that, okay, there's people watching, like I'm keeping them into consideration. Because clearly they're watching and they're spending their time watching something, right? So you want to be valuable in that sense, right? And when you can understand that you can carry that specific frequency, it's almost like sewing, right? Like it's going in and out through the different sides, and then it comes out straight. So, and then the training wheel in this case is cut off after that point. I don't know if any of this is making sense to you guys. These are just downloads that I'm getting right now. But I think they must be relevant, because why else would they be shared on a platform like this? You know what I mean? Like, why else would the urge or the urgency pull me towards generating content in this spontaneous flow state fashion? This is a freestyle video format, right? There's no edits, there's no cover-ups, there's no like, oh man, maybe I should edit that part out to make myself look cooler, man. It's none of that. It's a direct reflection with the shadow. It's not a consumption, it's a consciousness assumption. It's a conscious consumption. It's a consumption. Okay? It's a consumption. The assumption is a con. So you have to come back to the fact. And the fact starts to become your magnum opus, your holy grail, everything you come back to. Because that is like an orb that you can carry throughout your body that can light up each of your energy vortexes, right? So you can go, all we're doing is we're physicalizing that understanding. But you can do this just simply with your attention. Put attention to the back of your neck, the base of the hollow of the neck, the throat chakra, right, area. Just put attention there. And just notice it expanding as you put attention there. Maybe you might feel it buzzing, maybe you feel it unactivated, whatever it is for you, it's still an experience as you put attention to it. So your attention is like an energy beam that goes forward into the world like this. And if you stay in that pocket just for enough time, it will flower into something. It will start to form itself around that idea or that myth or that concept. And slowly now you have a piece of art on your hands. You see, shout out to Temple of Loha. I don't make offerings, I make art. Because everything that I'm doing is expression and teaching you expression in the most authentic, pure form way. Without any edits, without any censorship, without any of this stuff where I cut and paste and from different areas. It's just all free-flowing, all organic and pure. Like the greatest source of medicine that we have on this planet, which is flow state, in my opinion. Because the word pharmacy, you know what it originally means in the Bible, in the Greek Bible? The word pharmacy actually means witchcraft or sorcery. The word are one of the same. And now we have pharmaceuticals, where you understand that big pharma is the occult, right? Because it started from that origin point. And that might be stretching it far. That might be just throwing a boundary into the leap, but I think there's definitely power to our words. Once we understand and activate our words, like almost like jumping into a certain energy vortex chamber where we can just charge it. We can do that with ourselves, but it takes time, effort, attention, work, and all this stuff. And not a lot of people are wanting all of those things in one mix. It's like, yeah, I'll give myself a little bit of time, but then the attention lacks. It's like, yeah, I'll give myself attention, but then I don't have the energy to back it up. If I have the energy to back it up, then I don't have the, you see? And so it's never full. It's not immersive enough. So in order to get you into the flow, you got to immerse yourself a little bit more into the world, into society, into the adjustment period where you're just basically feel like you might be juggling a lot of things, but then you become the juggler. And you've done it so many times that it's like now it's like easy to just juggle. And you're not putting that extra effort into learning, see? Once you don't have effort into learning, you can go for as long as you want with it. You can explore it to the realm and the dimension that you want. So the new dimension is going to be more about leaning into your flow state edge, your craft, and not being inauthentic for no reason. But having that relevance, having that compassion to back up the attention that you give something, because you can create your own bubble of flow and only experience the world in here, in your own mind, rather than actually viscerally living it and engaging all your senses more through an energetic spectrum. We stop and miss the bigger picture at times. We really do. We want to look at the specific details. I know I love that. I'm like, oh, how can I get even more detailed than that? How can I refine it even further? I don't know if your mind works like this. Mine does. It just keeps chipping. But you got to be very delicate with your chops, because that thing is sharp. Your intellect is sharp. It can maim yourself. It can maim others. Because it's a weapon, your intellect. And people weaponize it against you. So you got to notice this and have the intelligence to have a defense, to have a tung fu, to have this verbal vinyasa. Shout out to Verbal Vinyasa, my course on Udemy. When you start to understand that this is your script to write, and I bring in scripts, my rap name scripts, for a reason, because I picked that name very intentionally, knowing that I was in the theater world, knowing that it came from Sanskrit, so that's why the K instead of the S-C-R-I-P-T-Z, or S. It's S-K-R-I-P-T-Z. The Z at the end is the denotation of sleep. The S is the struggle. You see? The S starts it out, the struggle, and it ends with a Z, which is the recovery phase. And in between is the flow, which is the scripts. Understand how deeply I thought about this concept even before picking it out. And now I'm realizing it as I'm saying this on camera. I never realized this earlier before. But right now I'm making that link between the flow cycle and my name. Now, how did I just do that? My mind took me to that area. It actually guided me to this place. See? So all I did was focus on the next tiniest step, the fraction step, and leaning into that and doing it, and then moving, and then trusting, and then moving, and then having faith, and then moving. And eventually you create this beautiful symphony where sometimes you do need a crescendo, you do need the solo stage, solo part, right? You do need it, but then you got to come back into the band and join again with the music and overlap and cause the best dips, right? The sauce is where you have the dips, if that makes sense. So you just got to follow those dips and come out on the other side shining, and recognize just those patterns, just those blueprints, and understand that these new holograms can override that old pattern if you intentionally create containers. So if you're like, every weekend we have Genius Days, every Sunday we have Genius Days, that's an example of a container, right? People can come in, people can drop out. We're going to do it irregardless. How powerful is a container like that, where someone suddenly thinks about it and then they suddenly show up one week and they have a mind-blasting experience? I mean, we have all of them recorded, right? So you guys can tell the value of that container. But all it took was 3 minds coming together thinking, hey, we should totally do this thing where people can come together and just geniuses hang out. Like, I don't think people had that. Like, where are the groups where all the geniuses share from their genius point of view? Because everyone is a genius. We've just lost that super consciousness ability because we're so attached to the body, to the ego, to the mind, that we're scared to go there. We feel like we can get drifted off into that realm and never come back to the real world. Well, guess what? That is the real world, my friends. Everything is the real world because you're experiencing it. So you're allowed to change. You're allowed to come back into the big city if you want to. You're allowed to go into the forest. You're allowed to do what you want. This is the freedom, but understand you've been either educated or indoctrinated. There are 2 paths. if you've been indoctrinated, it's time to do some deconditioning, right? It's time to unlearn a bunch of stuff that are keeping you stuck in that mold. You've got to break the mold. You've got to become like Play-Doh again, so we can use theatroplasticity, neuroplasticity to make it happen. Shout out to Theatroplasticity, my book. If you haven't got a copy, check it out. It's on Amazon, okay? Now, the concept of that book, basically, let me tell you briefly about it. In that book, what it helped me do was survive college, straight up. Like, I'm being real with you. In college, I wanted to reinvent myself because in high school, I just wasn't that guy, that talked to girls or whatever, or, played sports that much, or even did stand-up comedy or anything of that sort. I was rapping, I was good at it, but I never even saw the signs of my success. I never even saw, after an incredible freestyle rap session, a beautiful girl gives me a compliment and hugs me, and I bypass that like, oh, she's just being polite. Not even acknowledging the gratitude, not even taking in that compliment. I was scared to surrender. I was scared of my yin. I was scared of my feminine side. Even though I thought I was kind of effeminate, I was still scared of my feminine side. This is the paradox that you're falling into. Listen, you're going to have to find your fine-tuned balance of this game, because you decide the energy, you decide the character, you decide the time and the container for it. So if you feel the same way I feel, in that you want to step into a newer dimension, you're going to have to really practice putting your positivity out there and standing by it and giving someone that extra smile. Not because you have to, but because you get to. Because you're so grateful that you breathe the fresh air and take in these energies and these spaces and these souls that you interact with on a daily. So take the time to go to the thinking. And I guess we can go right to the point then. I don't know who I was impersonating there. Probably someone, right? Excellent. Smithers. Well, that's Mr. Burns, clearly, but I don't know who the one before that was. Let's see what time it is. Okay, so I do have a boxing session today. I'm going to step into it. Check out this boxing glove, guys. Isn't that perfect? Isn't that just perfect? Because it kind of looks like a wolf and a tiger at the same time, which are my two, the two animals, I guess you could say, my spirit animals, that I really resonate with as my beast character, right? At once. I think it's very powerful. And right here it says invincible. What does true invincibility mean to me? What is true invincibility? True invincibility is to get into pure awareness anytime that you choose, into neutrality anytime you choose. That's true invincibility. Nothing can touch you in that space, in that 0 point, in that flow box. Nothing can touch you. You can just put on your headphones and you're good. Teenagers know this. Come on, man. Teenagers know. Now, sometimes they're using their flow to escape. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying use flow and meditation and breath work and all these different practices to get you to experience more of society, not to escape society, right? One is like, let me just go off by myself to learn these secret ancient wisdoms. The other one is like, I'm already in these secret ancient wisdoms as I'm living it, I'm experiencing them, and I'm getting more of a enriching experience, which is also part of flow, is that deep embodiment and that enrichment of that experience. You can't really think your way to flow. You can feel your way into flow, right? You can try to think your way into flow if you have an intellectual flow state or you're a deep thinker and that's your flow profile, like myself. I can think my way into flow state oftentimes, but that's also because I'm letting go into my thoughts. You see, I'm not attached to the thought. I'm just softly letting it land and gently giving myself the space to do so. Right? Without judgment, without being like, oh, I should have said this louder over here. Why was I speaking so softly into the camera there? Right? Instead of that, you just allow. Bashar has this great idea of permission slips. So you've got to give yourself a permission to be positive. Okay? You have to give yourself permission to be positive without feeling that, oh, people are not going to accept my positivity. Because that's a fear. That's a deep fear that we all have. Am I being too weird, too uncool? Are people going to like me? Am I being too awkward right here? It depends on the group. It depends what the norms and the values of that group are. If you've broken some of the codes, then of course, yeah, they might not like you. But guess what? Sometimes people will just magnetize to you. And those people are meant to magnetize for you. Like, people come into our lives for a reason. To teach us things, right? Everyone's your teacher. Everyone's not your spiritual teacher, but everyone's your teacher in some way or another. Even if they're teaching you not to be a teacher at that time. Think about that one. Even if they're teaching you not to be a teacher at that time, or to be a student at that time. Right? They're giving you the space and they're holding it. What does it mean to hold space? It's reinforcing gravity, attraction, rather than repulsion, dark matter, or chaos. It's making order out of chaos. Because it's still called the solar system, right? It's still a system. Think about why the planets are called a system. Why do we call it an ecosystem? Why are everything a system? Why does the brain have a system? Why does entrepreneurship? Why is that a money-making system? Right? Why is there a system to getting a better body? Why is there a system? Why are there systems? Because systems make things work. It either smoothens out your process, makes it easier, it makes it more difficult, it takes more time, it takes shorter time. But it's not a people problem, it's always a process problem. Your process is not deeply understood. You don't understand your own flow print or your blueprint. If you did, and you knew that, oh, I have a more of an energetic blueprint based on this. And the thing is, you can't attach to the label either and use those labels to be passive. I do that all the time too. I need to catch myself. I'm like, nah, that's because I'm anxious avoidant, you know? Or like, yeah, I'm not an ENFP like her, so I can't do that. Or something ridiculous, right? Oh no, he's a Taurus, that's not gonna work out, you know? Or whatever you're telling yourself, right? Whatever label, attachment. Oh no, my attachment style is not acts of service, you know? Like avoiding getting someone a gift. Like, don't use these different labels to avoid even further. Get it? Escapist is still a label, but guess what? You're trying to escape from the escapist label. Ooh, slow motion this side. Ooh, okay, Ralph Smart on him. Ralph Smart on him, that's what we're gonna call it. Shout out Ralph Smart. Anyway, understand that you have a positive impact here on society and you don't have a lot of positive role models. So it's time to start being the positive role model that you wish you had. That is your gift. That is your mission. I just gave you your mission right now. Your mission right now is to be the person who is going to save you when you were younger. Be the person who you would have loved to have as a role model when you were younger. Be that guy. Be that girl, be that guy right now, today. If you don't feel like you are that, that's the place to move into and start honing in that new dimension. Because the universe will give you signs of when this thing is working, when it's in flux, when it's in motion. And when I start speaking like this, it is this hypnotic trance-like effect that starts to permeate, and I can't stop myself from speaking because it just keeps going and growing and flowing, and it keeps escapating, the menstruating, the enterating, the blendsticating, the nensisating, the sensations, the tense patience, the menstruation, the cantsdation, the foundation, the clowns make it, the down faking. Okay? You just keep going. You just keep going. There's no end to it, and there's no beginning either. So you can relax. But stay alert. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary, okay? Boom!